The interesting thing about trading is that um, the difficult part is navigating through these pullbacks. Now, these pullbacks are critical in following a trend. So when I look at this, I'm looking at this right here, and I can see this is pretty much a straightforward move up. But before this is painted, I'm wondering, okay, so is this pullback completely reversing, or is it going to keep going up? That's the concern I have. So as soon as it pulls back, then is this really a pullback? And is it part of a continuation strategy? Right here. So right here, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this right there, right there. And I'm looking at another situation right here. Okay. And I'm also looking at the same thing right here. So when I'm in here, I'm completely oblivious to what will unfold here. That means that if I get in here and somehow I get trapped, then I need to get a stop loss and get out and then see what happens. Or it's possible that right after I stopped out, it'll just continue on. So these are the things that I need to consider in my trading. Now I fall victim to this quite often when this is inverted, right? Let's say this is flipped around and it's in a downtrend. So this is at the top there, and so it drops, pulls back, and then drops, pulls back, and drops. I would fall victim to that, thinking, okay, um, so I would say that, okay, right here, inverted, I would look at it and it's going to keep going up. But sometimes what it would do is I may get in here to get some sort of validity that the pullback, actually it's a major trend reversal. So this could have been a major trend reversal, but it's actually part of this massive trend that has been established here. So that's the trend. And so the question is, what do I? So how do I know? How do I figure this out? How do I know that when it hits this, that it's going to keep going up? How do I know that? So I suppose what I need to do is essentially figure out a channel. It's essentially a channel, some type of a channel. Okay, that's what I need to be aware of. And so I have to be aware that not all moves will be parabolic and it's going to move in a channel. And then when it hits this channel here, the bottom of the channel, then I'm expecting it to move up. And as a consequence, when it moves like this, I have to be aware of the fact that it is moving that way. And then when it breaks away from the channel, then it really is a trend reversal. When it breaks free from this part right here, it turns out to be a trend reversal. That's what I need to be. So there's the word that's thrown out there called trend break. I think that's what it's called, trend break. I think it's called a trend break, right? I think it's called a trend break. Trend break. Trend breakout. Okay, so it's a trend breakout strategy. The trend line breakout strategy involves recognizing when the price breaks through a trend line, indicating a potential change in the trend. So when I look at this situation, so when I look at this right here, it actually is still part of that trend. It's not breaking out. And so here, when I'm looking at this, and I need to be constantly monitoring, I need to be constantly drawing this situation where it's bouncing between the channel that's here. So that's what I need to be aware of. See, so when I look, I suppose it may not be just, I mean, when I look at this, it's essentially, it essentially has a channel, and then it broke out right there. And so that's how I can tell whether, so this trend is broken at this moment. So then I can go high here, just like that. So everything moves in a trend break. That's what it looks like. And so when I look at this green candle, I'm thinking, okay, so it essentially bounced off this bottom side of the trend line. That's why it's up. Okay, that's why it's up. I guess that's what trend line breakout is. Trend breakout. I think that's what it is. That's how trend breakout is. So when let's say that I'm in this trade, it goes up, gets to this point. I would think that I need to be aware that there's a possibility that it's going to come back up, and there will be a sustained pullback. And if it goes up, it's good. So maybe the trend line is essentially here, right? Maybe that's the trend line. And people talk about touches and things like that. I suppose that's what it is. 1 touch, 2, 3, 4 touches right there, 5, and then broke that. But in reality, there's a bigger trend right here instead of this trend. And then it kept continuing, following essentially a line up there, corralled by this right here. So when people talk about trend line breakout, trend breakout, that's what it is right here. So if I look here, that's where the breakout occurred right here. It broke out and started to move that way. So far, it's still within the trend line here. So there is a possibility that it's going to keep going up that way, despite the fact that it touched on the bottom side of that trend line, trend channel. It's a channel, and it bounced back up. So that's something that I need to be aware of as I start trading. So it's currently 2:30 in the morning. It's Wednesday, third day of trading. This is the third day, and next week it's going to be a fresh week. This is a career that I have embarked on. This is essentially a career. This is my career, and I have to figure this. I have to trade right. I have to, because this is going to be my bread and butter. This will be my bread and butter in the future. So I better know what I'm doing. Otherwise this is very important. This is very, very important right here. So this has been perplexed because I'm used to like parabolic moves, and it's easier to recognize parabolic because the channel is essentially this parabolic move. But this is more complicated. But generally speaking, this is how they move, how the markets move. Generally, in most cases, that's how it moves. See, all the way here. So essentially moves in a channel, just like right here. In most cases, it moves in a channel. And in certain situations, there will be that parabolic move that occurs. But in most cases, everything moves in a channel. It moves in a channel. In most cases, unless there's subtle catalytic event that causes it to be parabolic. But in general, there's an underlying information that's here that causes this thing to start moving this manner, because people will start buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling, buying, selling, buying, selling, and things like that. That's continuing. So that is something that I need to be constantly aware of. So it seems to me this is indicating that it's actually going to, if I were to extend this out, it's reaching towards that, and it'll probably rendezvous probably here, and probably rendezvous somewhere up there. That's what I would be thinking. So if it keeps going up like this, I would think that this eventually will reach here somewhere within this channel. Okay, there may be a pullback, but it'll probably hit this area when it moves up, or it could drop a little more. But if it drops below here, most likely that could be a trend reversal right there, because it would be breaking out of this channel, lower part of it. Okay, that's how trend, what is it called? Trend breakout. Yeah, that's how it works.